I'm Hannah Mordeau. Now on Daybreak, mixed emotions across the country after the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade.
Frankly horrified on behalf of women across the United States and certainly across Indiana.
Indiana has lawmakers on both sides of the issue. Hear what one Republican representative is calling on state lawmakers to do.
I'm Camila Fernandez. We're live at the State House with everything you need to know on the rally and the prayer gathering.
I'm Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings. It's a hot and dry day, but I'll time out when we could see some much needed rain.
And later to the White House when President Joe Biden is expected to sign the bipartisan gun safety bill into law.
You're watching Wish TV, your local news source with Hannah Mordeau and meteorologist Tara Hastings. Now, News 8 Daybreak continues.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Thanks for starting your weekend with us. It is a busy news day, but of course we want to get to the weather.
Celebration.
Today's ruling is a tremendous victory.
And outrage.
It's a slap in the face to women about using their own judgment.
The United States Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade.
The court has done what it has never done before.
Dismissing nearly 50 years of precedent, sparking protests.
We trust women. We won't go back.
And rallies of support across the country.
I've been fighting my entire adult life for this day. It is one important victory.
And let's take a look at just a few of the protests from coast to coast. You can see 9 different cities here. People started gathering soon after the highest court handed down its 5-4 decision. Large crowds were seen from New York City to Chicago to L.A., even right here in Indiana. We brought you live team coverage of the protests in Indianapolis last night. Dozens of people gathered at Monument Circle downtown. There were many signs and chants, including a large message from abortion rights advocates saying, "We will not go back." Now, all eyes are on the Indiana State House. This morning, protesters and supporters of the decision plan to be there. That's where we find News 8's Camila Fernandez right now. And Camila, a lot that we're expecting today.
That's right. And follow us on Facebook.
Indiana House Speaker Todd Houston says he expects state lawmakers to take up abortion during the special session. He shared a statement saying, "Well, it's too early to speculate on what form legislation may take. I strongly believe we'll couple any action with expanding resources and services to support pregnant mothers and care for their babies before and after birth." State Democrats, though, are worried about what that law might look like.
The long and the short of it is very, very damaging to our state.
State Representative Carrie Hamilton also says she lost a high school friend to an abortion gone wrong, and she fears that will happen to many more people now. Democrat Representative Andre Carson says yesterday was a terrible day for women and anyone who wants to make their own medical decisions. He said in a statement, House has passed legislation to protect a woman's right to choose, and I call on the Senate to take up our bill immediately. Indiana Republican Representative Jackie Walorski says that the Supreme Court's ruling answered one of her prayers. She called on state lawmakers to quickly move to ban abortion.
And you know what? I hope Indiana leads the nation at the decision today.
Walorski says all unborn babies have the right to be born and have the American dream. One of the top Republicans in Washington is vowing to do even more now that Roe v. Wade is overturned. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy says he and other Republicans want a nationwide law that bans abortion at 15 weeks.
Americans celebrate. Our work is far from done.
Some Democrats in the House are concerned about how this ruling will impact other precedents.
Overturning Roe of America.
Justice Clarence Thomas has called for the court to take up cases that reconsider rulings that strike down state bans on contraceptives and state prohibitions on same-sex marriage. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are using the ruling as a call to action. They both encouraged Americans to head to the polls in November for midterm elections.
This fall.
So this is not over.
And neither is our coverage. We have much more coverage of the Supreme Court's decision online right now. Just grab your phone or your computer, head to the top story section of wishtv.com, and you will find many stories on this topic there. Time right now is 8:08. The Pacers draft picks are in. Our Charlie Clifford shares the excitement here in Indianapolis.
This is unacceptable, to say the least.
A man in Washington, D.C. took some drastic measures to get this video and show how upset he is with the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The man climbed on top of the Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge yesterday to post videos on TikTok. He says he plans to stay on top of the bridge as long as he's physically able to in order to get attention for the issue. Moving to Pacers Watch, the newest team members are in Indianapolis. Our Charlie Clifford shows us how people welcome this year's draft picks. It's Thursday and Friday.
The impact on Indianapolis, ahead on Daybreak. What the Marion County prosecutor says he'll do if abortion becomes illegal here in Indiana.
We're over 3,000 abortions, and I'm hopeful that we will be in a position soon to cut that number significantly.
More than a dozen Republican-led states are working to add abortion bans following the highest court's decision. Justices delivered a 5-4 ruling yesterday overturning Roe v. Wade and giving states the right to ban abortions. Governor Eric Holcomb says he expects state lawmakers to take up abortion here in Indiana during the July special session, which was meant to address inflation. Marion County's prosecutor says he will not file criminal charges if state lawmakers pass a new abortion ban. I-Team 8's Richard Essex explains that decision.
Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears, I-Team 8.
Thanks so much. Time right now is 8:25. And Tara, I've been enjoying low humidity lately, but that could change?
Yes.
The impact on minorities, ahead on Daybreak, how the abortion ruling could make health disparities worse for certain communities.
News 8 Daybreak starts now.
Welcome back. Taking a live look outside. It's starting to be a nice day, but we just got this news in from Citizens Energy. They're asking people to limit their water use. That means water your lawn only 1 to 2 times a week at max. Water early in the morning. Sweep your driveway off instead of using a hose if at all possible. When it comes to washing your clothes or washing your dishes, run the dishwasher and washing machines when full. Don't do it just when you have a few items in there. Tara,
yes.
Big day for you when it comes to the washing machine. You've been without one for about a month. You just got one back
in a few minutes.
All right, Tara, thanks so much. People are waking up to change across the country after the United States Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Right now, abortion is still legal here in Indiana. That's because there's no trigger law in our state. But 13 states, you see them here, they do have abortion bans that go into effect with the highest court's decision. The 5 states that are in light orange, they have bans that start in the next 5 to 30 days. Then the 7 brown states, they have laws that go into effect almost immediately. And then Oklahoma, well, they have a ban already now in place.
Oklahoma crisis pregnancy.
Elective abortions are now illegal in Utah as well. The state's trigger law does allow for some exceptions in the case of rape, incest, or if the health of the mother is at risk. Democrat lawmakers in Utah want some changes to be made to the trigger law, like how rape can be reported.
The reporting requirement wouldn't be required to only be to police. Would have to say that I was raped.
Lawmakers are also calling to remove criminal penalties for health care providers. And the United States Attorney General says the Department of Justice strongly disagrees with the Supreme Court's decision. Merrick Garland vows that the DOJ will work to protect and advance reproductive freedom. Garland says the DOJ will protect providers and people seeking abortions in states where it is legal. Indiana's Attorney General supports the ruling. Todd Rokita shared a statement saying, "The Supreme Court has delivered a historic win for life, but our fight for unborn children continues in earnest. We will continue working vigorously to protect those little ones and the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of their mothers." Your Multicultural Spotlight looks into how the Supreme Court's decision will impact minority communities. Many already face health care disparities, and now some people fear that the ruling will only make this issue worse. News 8's multicultural reporter Katira Winfrey explains.
I spoke to Rep. Follow Us on Facebook.
And we have much more coverage of the Supreme Court's decision online right now. Just grab your phone. You can scan that QR code that's up on your screen. That will take you straight to the top stories on wishtv.com, where you can find even more reaction and stories involving the ruling. President Joe Biden is expected to sign the bipartisan gun safety bill within minutes. This is a live look right now at the White House. The House passed the bill yesterday. The potential law includes funding for mental health, school safety, and crisis intervention programs. There are also incentives for states to put juvenile records in the National Instant Criminal Background Check system. Plus, it makes changes to how people who are 18 to 21 years old try to buy a gun. It also prevents people who are convicted of domestic abuse from owning a gun.
We take a historic first step.
One bit less free.
The bipartisan Safe Communities Act, that's what it's called, is the most significant federal gun legislation in decades. Lawmakers say if it's passed, it will be the most significant. We're hearing from President Biden right now as he is about to sign the bill. Let's listen in.
And I mean so many Americans. A decision is implemented by states. My administration is going to focus on how they administer it and whether or not they violate other laws. It requires young people aged 18 to 21 to undergo enhanced background checks. It includes the first ever federal law that makes gun trafficking and straw purchases distinct federal crimes for the first time. It clarifies who needs to register as a federally licensed gun dealer and run background checks before selling a single weapon. You know, this also provides historic funding to address youth mental health crisis in this country, especially the trauma experienced by the survivors of this gun violence. Look, it invests in anti-violence programs that work directly with the people who are most likely to commit these crimes or become victims of gun crimes. Today, we say more than enough. We say more than enough. It's time when this seems impossible to get anything done in Washington. We are doing something consequential. If we can reach compromise on guns, we ought to be able to reach compromise on other critical issues, from veterans health care to cutting-edge American innovation and so much more. I know there's much more work to do, and I'm never going to give up. But this is a monumental day. God bless us with the strength to continue to work, to get the work that's left undone done, and the lives lost that can't be saved, that are obviously gone, but will be an inspiration for us to do more. I'm not going to sign this bill into law.
And there you have it, President Joe Biden sitting down to sign into law the bipartisan gun safety bill. It is called the Safe Communities Act. Historic legislation happening right now as we speak. This is the first in many, many years, long awaited by many lawmakers and the public. You see President Biden just signed the bill there. He is about to hold it up so all can see. But this moved somewhat quickly after the mass shootings in Uvalde, Texas, at that elementary school, and also at the grocery store in Buffalo, New York. Let's listen in again to President Biden here.
I think the Supreme Court has made some terrible decisions.
These decisions were made from the Supreme Court.
And there you can hear President Biden referencing the Supreme Court decision of Roe v. Wade. That has been a topic we have been talking about nonstop this morning here. We do have protests in support and against abortion rights happening in Indianapolis this morning. We'll have much more coverage on that later on today. We will have more news coming up after the break. So we have a local law expert joining us this morning to break down the impact of the Supreme Court's decision. Dr. Jennifer Drobak is a professor at IU McKinney School of Law. She specializes in sexual harassment law and constitutional law that relates to family issues. Dr. Drobak, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me, Hannah.
First and foremost, from a legal perspective, how historic was this decision by the Supreme Court?
Very. This decision undoes half a century of law. More, really, because the whole issue of what does liberty mean started even before Roe, and Roe was simply an explanation of liberty. And this decision has completely unraveled that whole definition of what liberty means, so that in particular today, women no longer have a liberty interest in the control of their own bodies if the state says it has a competing interest.
You mentioned there the state, now up to states, and this is the first time we've seen the Supreme Court roll back a right for people. What does this mean right now for Indiana?
Right now for Indiana, it means simply that the right to abortion and medical care is not guaranteed for women. And so the law is not going to change today as it will in some states, or did yesterday in some states because of trigger laws. But the Indiana legislature, as you've just noted, is going to be meeting in July, and it's predicted that Indiana will in some way outlaw abortion. And we also know from comments made by our former governor, Mike Pence, and former vice president, that he favors a national ban so that no state could provide abortion services to women. So this is pretty catastrophic and life-changing for a lot of people.
You mentioned those trigger laws. 13 states have them already in effect. Indiana not one of them, but we are seeming like a law will be put into place. If we look at some of these other trigger laws, what might we see here in Indiana? I know nothing is written or said or set in stone yet, but what might we see?
What might be seen is a complete ban on abortion, which would mean that if there's a pregnancy as a result of rape or incest, or if a young girl has become pregnant, then it wouldn't matter. Or if to save the life of the mother, it might not matter. So it depends on what types of restrictions get put in place along with a ban on abortion. So would it be complete and total, or would there be some exceptions? And the way I explain it to my law students is, and this is particularly for male law students, is what if the government said that they wanted to take your kidney to save the life of someone else? Would you object? And that's basically using somebody's body to save somebody else. This is a logical conclusion of what we're doing right now.
We have a lot to see when it comes to what it will look like specifically here in Indiana. But if there's a law banning abortion here, could a woman just go to another state? Or what would those options look like? Or could that potentially not work, even if you had the financial means to do it?
Even if you had the financial means to do it, and that's a big if, the question for some people in some states is, are states going to criminalize travel? Now, the president said that he would protect, through the White House, protect the right to travel, and we have a constitutional right to travel. So as long as some states are permitted to continue offering this service, then arguably women could travel if they had the means, the time, and the logistical support to do that. But the other question then comes up is, if Congress becomes more conservative in the future, as has been predicted, will Congress completely ban national abortion? In which case, because there's no longer a Supreme Court precedent which protects it, abortion wouldn't be available in the United States.
A lot to watch. Thank you so much for helping explain it to us, Dr. Jennifer Drobak. We appreciate it.
Thank you.